Alrighty guys, I'm back here again with I believe part 4 of the Kawasaki jet ski build. I got it real nice and toasty in this workshop, and I got this head machine from Button Machine Shop, which is local here. 8 thousandths. I thought that was a lot, but doing the trick with the solder where you put the solder in the cylinder head and squish it to see how much clearance there is, it only said 40 thousandths clearance, and I think the max is 45, and the gasket is supposedly 10 thousandths, so that's 50 thousandths clearance, which is really good. The rod bearings are shot a little bit, so I kind of, instead of just like squishing it over like that, I kind of went back and forth real fast to kind of get the rod to swing up however much it can. But I got it all assembled, the carbs clean and everything. I want to run it like this until I can get some cool looking like velocity stacks or something cool like that for it. The engine looks like it's just rebuilt stock, but it's beyond that. It's probably gained at least 20 horsepower. Just guessing. It might be less, but I'm pretty sure that it's at least 20% that we've gained so far. It's got really good compression on this cylinder, but this one doesn't have the best. Like, you can kind of hear it seep out, so that's just the whole purpose of breaking in these motors. That's to get the piston rings seated up against the cylinder walls and give it better running compression. Also, just a little something to say here about this compression tester I have. First of all, it's about 20 psi more that it's reading than it actually is. And also, the plugs in this thing, this was the plug they had in it before. See, it's way too short. It won't reach down those threads all the way because those are really long, about that long. So I went to the store and bought these. They didn't have the iridium ones, which are supposedly better, so I just went with the standard one. But you can see the difference in thread, and the more space you take up in that cylinder, same deal with that, but the more space you take up in the cylinder, the more compression you're going to have, because your compression ratio is going to be higher. I don't really have the exact numbers, but like for an example, like if the compression on this was supposed to be like 13-to-1 or something like that, I don't know compression ratios, but with that smaller spark plug it might have 16-to-1. You know, it just really increases it because there's not that much space in there to begin with, and when you put a shorter spark plug in, that really takes away a lot of power. But the same thing is with your compression tester. If that doesn't stick down the hole all the way, it's not going to get an accurate reading, especially when the gauge doesn't even get it already. But some come with adapters, like this one, they kind of did it here. That's about long enough, but the problem is your little valve isn't at the end of that, like you can see on that one. So that's still, that hole down the middle of that is adding more displacement or room to that cylinder, and it's just not going to give you the right compression. So it's going to be pretty high, knowing that before it was like 160. It went up to like 180, but it probably around 160, knowing the gauge is wrong. But I'm shooting for, with the heads shaved and this gasket, I think that it's probably going to be around 190, and I don't want to go any higher because I do want to run this on pump gas, because it's really hard to find race gas at a river or a lake. So yeah, the head getting shaved was definitely a plus. I messed it up by using a metal wire brush, and this head is aluminum, so it kind of started pitting the surface, so I ended up just taking it to Buttons and have them shave it however much they need to get it flat, and that worked out great. Before I install the engine in the ski, I need to actually do the rest of the modifications on this expansion chamber here, because I am getting rid of the water box, and then I'm going to show you how clean it is. Just look at how nice and clean this is. It's kind of stupid how they have so many connectors and stuff, but they won't put a connector on the actual charging system here. I haven't cleaned the side of that yet. But this is about what the whole motor looked like. Just a bunch of crap everywhere. So we bought this in the summertime, around the middle of the summer, and it had this pad was on, and it was a hole. There's a hole, H-O-L-E, in the floor mat here. And I did a lot of fiberglass work, a lot of cleaning and prep and sanding. Sanded the whole thing, did the best I could, and got it on there. You can't really tell. This one's up a little bit higher. You can't probably see it on video, but it's up a little bit higher because I could not sand that hard plastic. It's really, really hard to sand. They almost use like a grinder when they're doing this type of stuff. But it was a summer night when I got this thing painted the rest of the way, and a butterfly, a couple of them throughout the whole body, like decided to land on it, and they got stuck, and they started flopping around, and it just started laying butterfly moth dusts all over the place. So you can kind of see that it's not perfect, but I mean, it doesn't look too bad from a distance. I kind of like it with the handlebar cover off. Here's the front side. I don't really feel like doing that, honestly. I'd probably want to take the gas tank out and then take this foam out, and then that's just a whole lot more cleaning. And it's generally nice right now, comparing that it's winter. So I want to try to get this motor in this weekend. But definitely worth cleaning this out. The sump system will work too, bilge, whatever. And here I was ready to think about some complicated stuff, but it turns out the old water box to outlet pipe tube actually fits. So I just need to do something with this, seal it up right, and then put that tube around it. Actually works quite nice. Those are very hard to bend. Kind of unfortunate they don't give us more to work with, but I can come up with something. Knowing that this motor is worth $500 on the internet, not really to me, but I want to save that for sure. Sell it on Craigslist. I can't even believe I stepped that pipe down to 2 inches on that truck out there. Everybody knows that in order to get that engine working properly, you gotta have at least a 6-inch pipe. At least. A little bit bigger than this from the manifold all the way back. That's performance. Nah, that's only diesels, but it's actually perfect. This piece right here, exhaust tips, turn downs are only like $5, by the way, so it kind of gets a little bit bigger right there, and that'll be good for putting the hose clamp on so the pipe doesn't blow off with all that horsepower from that ski engine. But seriously, if you ever have a 600 cubic feet per minute 4-barrel, I recommend 3-inch pipe or bigger, but 2.5 will be fine for this truck because secondaries aren't even opening up. Nobody wants a 4-barrel 2-barrel. FYI, if you think that 4-barrel is too much for that truck, you're wrong, because this is what they had on it before. Excuse the emissions junk around this thing, but this is the carburetor they had on it before, just single. That truck is 4,900 cc's, and then this is a 750cc engine with 2 carburetors, each bigger than that one. So you can't really say that 600 cubic feet per minute is too big. Wrong. I know these aren't float carbs, but still, it's just way too small for that truck. If you want to save the pipe underneath, go ahead, but if you want to save some time out of your life, just cut the pipe on top, because you're not going to get it off any other way, besides come-alongs, welder, penetrating oil, Tiger torch, and 3 other things. I got that really flat, sanded it down. cut it with a demolition saw. Now I got it nice and round, as best as I could with a lead hammer. Got some slots cut in it. By looking at the light in there, I need to squeeze it like that. Alright, so I got it about the way I want it. I still need to hammer it back down a little, and I was thinking, looking at the shape of this, water's going to set in there and it's going to rust. I know it's going to fill with two-stroke sludge immediately, but I still want to kind of have something that the water can drain into. I know that the way the water's going to drain out of this is wide open throttle, because there's going to be so much horsepower flying out of that exhaust. It'll have to come out. I would say bald eagles, but I think it's cats, because it's made in, you know. So I got that all grinded down, and I got that slit cut, but I accidentally cut it a little too far because I thought there was an alien in my workshop. But really it was just the sound of the grinder echoing through the pipe. Kawasaki cats, Yamaha dogs. For the first time in my life, I was looking around in here for 10 minutes, and the helmet wasn't actually in the workshop. Yeah. Wow, guys, now that I've boxed the workshop with smoke from welding, I'm gonna turn my vacuum on. It started burning through a little bit at the end, around right here. You can kind of see it was running a little too hot, so I'm gonna apply a little bit of lube here because this is two halves, and this is a rubber seal O-ring, if you want to call it, and it's used, so you really want to put some sealant. I don't know what this is, but I'm using it. Don't forget this spring to hold the sketchy starter gear in. Oil pump. Something funny here, I'm trying to make one of these, and I just drilled a hole that fits in, and I'm trying to make a plate that covers that. This poor plate of steel, I just drilled that hole instead of that punched hole. I got a little bit lazy here and made one straight path instead of making a bunch of different ones like I did on that side. So it was a little too thin, but I'm just gonna kind of like seal the crap out of it with that sealant that I don't know what it is, and then use these little aluminum guys to make up the room of the non-threaded area, because this does have a thickness to it. Alright, now that we got a cool theme of oversized spacer washers in here, I'm going to go ahead and get this puppy in. Getting the rest of this fuel system drained here, I got really rich in oil gas put into the tank to make sure that everything's ready for mixed gas. I don't want to run any straight gas, not even a drop, through this engine. There we go, we got that fuel system primed, and I am putting my new pipe in. Alright, so it's extra dark out here now. I got this tube on here, and it was really hard to wrestle on there, but I got it curved the little bit that it needed to be, and it's all real nice and sealed, and it's definitely a big weight reduction for all that bald eagles and cats. And if you look at it in the dark, it looks really complicated, but it's not when you turn the light on. But yeah. Alright, I got this on. It's super nighttime now. I forgot this coolant hose down on the manifold, so that sucks. And how the hell is water supposed to get through that little hole and somehow need this big of a hose? I guess it's just under that much pressure, but yeah. Got those gaskets. It came with the gasket with a hole about half that size, so I had to do some machining with a grinder, die grinder, and wow, that's loud. Ooh. Pause. That is so loud. I can tell you right now, guys, this ain't no cat or dog. This thing sounds like it's about ready to jump off the trailer. Wow. That is one hell of a successful build. But yeah, thanks for watching, and watch for a video that comes out shortly of me riding it, or a longer first run.